Some things to be mindful of when removing suspension components after a collision is things can be bound up, tweaked, torqued. When unbolting stuff, it could pop out at you, or when you're cutting something, it could spring in one direction or the other. So you just need to be careful after a collision. All the components that we'll be replacing is the strut, both outer and inner tie rod, control arm, hub and wheel bearing, and lower ball joint. Thought I was recording, but I got the strut out. I just unbolted it from the top and it slid out. All right, we're gonna switch gears, change of plans. I'm gonna separate the ball joint here and just pull the CV axle out with the knuckle and work on getting it off the vehicle, maybe a little easier. Threads in the front are already boogered up, so I have a new CV axle coming. When putting the nut on to pound on it, I put it on like normal, but if you notice, this is a lot thinner than the main nut. So in hindsight, if I were to do this again, is put the nut on backwards, and then you have a lot more meat here to protect the face of the CV axle. But that's what I'm going to do. Ball joint, pull the whole thing out, and then continue working with the lower control arm and the tie rod. All right, all the suspension components have been taken off. We're gonna just give it a good look over, make sure there's nothing else. One thing I noticed here on the wheel speed sensor is that this wire has been chafed, so we'll wanna repair that or replace the wheel speed sensor. All right, CV axle is already toast, so I'm just gonna beat it out. We're gonna press this hub and bearing out and install a new one. So I got the knuckle raised on a couple of 4x4s, and we could drive the hub out from the back side. All right, now we're putting things back together. counted how many turns the old one took to come off, and that's about how many turns I did to put the new one on. That'll put it in the ballpark. It still needs an alignment anyway. All right, we'll wait until we get the strut and knuckle and everything on and load the suspension before torquing down the control arm. A little grease on the shaft so it goes in nice. All right, you feel it go in its splines and push it in, and you'll feel it. So with the suspension jacked up just enough to get it off of the jack stand, that's as if the car is sitting on the ground. So the suspension is loaded. Now we can torque our control arms. All right, I think that's it. Just double check everything, give it a good look over, make sure everything's torqued, put the tire on, take it for a test drive. Now it will need to be aligned afterwards. All right, this is just an update. It's been a couple weeks since we worked on the suspension. It's been to the body shop. They got the bumper, the fender, and everything looking really good. So you can't even tell that this thing has been in an accident. All right, well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.